Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This morning I'd like to present our research, and the title is Indonesian Cocoa Export Commodity, a comparison in competition and the affecting factors. Cocoa is one of the export commodities that contribute in international trade. Various cocoa commodities which exported internationally involve Indonesian cocoa with a reasonable position. There are 5 various cocoa commodities that exported by some countries. First commodities is cocoa beans. Indonesia occupies the last position of 8 countries which is in decline. Fourth position for cocoa cake. Second position for cocoa butter and cocoa powder. And fourth position for chocolate product. According to Amir, there are 3 important aspects that can impact the competitiveness between countries when exporting in international trade: price, quality, and service. Prices relate to policies imposed by the government, such as regulation issued by the Minister of Finance Regulation number 67, which set the export tariff for several commodities such as cocoa beans. In terms of quality, Indonesia cocoa beans skipping the fermentation process during the post-harvest, but there are several advantages that make it deserve the position among world cocoa exporters. One of them is the Indonesian cocoa fat contains low-free fatty acid and a high melting point. This is required by other countries that focus on the field of cosmetic and pharmaceutical industries. The following, there is data on export of Indonesian cocoa beans and prices from 2014 until 2019. Indonesia's largest cocoa export are cocoa butter and cocoa powder, whilst cocoa beans tend to experience a decline. This is influenced by several factors to compete in the international market. The research of cocoa export competitiveness has been done many times. This study aims to fulfill previous researches on the competitiveness and export of the cocoa commodity in the international market, along with to discover the factors that affect the export competitiveness of the Indonesia cocoa commodity. The outcomes of this research can be taken as a consideration for the government in determining policies related to cocoa export. This research was conducted by analyzing several researches of the largest cocoa exporting countries that focus on Indonesia. The method used in quantitative analytics by using secondary data search from FAO statistics, Ministry of Trade, and Ministry of Finance in the form of time series data in 1990 until 2019. RCA and MSI used to answer about competitiveness, and multiple linear regression used to answer the affecting factors. Here is the result. The table indicates the most cocoa commodities exporting countries have a high competitiveness, wherein the RCA value is greater than 1, except for competitiveness of processed chocolate product, which is only owned by Ivory Coast, Netherlands, and Brazil. Ivory Coast and Ghana have the highest competitiveness value because Ivory Coast supplies 30% of the world's cocoa demand that has grown through the fermentation. And Ghana has a high production due to the massive production process carried out by almost 2/3 of Ghana's population. Especially in the export of cocoa case, Ivory Coast has a value that is far superior to the competing countries due to the main market demand for cocoa in Europe and the existence of fermentation process. In American market, which is more flexible in choosing cocoa, but through fermented and non-fermented, Indonesia is a key market for export of cocoa paste in America. In general, Indonesia's competitiveness ranks 6 for cocoa beans and cocoa butter, and 7 for cocoa paste, cocoa powder, and chocolate. Seeing the export tariff policy imposed on cocoa beans since April 2010, Indonesia cocoa beans can no longer be competitive in international market. On the contrary, the three cocoa products, cocoa paste, cocoa butter, and cocoa powder, tend to experience a significant increase. This means that the government's goal has been achieved to encourage the domestic cocoa industry in export activities. The competition of Indonesian cocoa commodities export are certainly influenced by various factors, either prevailing in the country or internationally. Based on table, we can see that the cocoa export competitiveness were generally influenced by Indonesian rupiah exchange rate, spot price, the amount of cocoa industry, and export tariff. Although partially the export of cocoa beans and processed cocoa is significantly influenced by different factors. Cocoa beans exports are significantly affected by the number of industry and export tariff. Cocoa paste and cocoa butter export are influenced by the rupiah exchange rate and what price. Cocoa powder exports are influenced by all factors, and chocolate exports are only influenced by what price. So, based on the result of Indonesian competitiveness and contribution, the best cocoa export that can be provided by Indonesia are cocoa butter and cocoa powder. In addition, it is expected that farmers and the cocoa processing industry can ferment cocoa beans in order to improve the quality of cocoa processed product produced as done by Ivory Coast supported by the government. This is concludes about our research. Thank you so much for your attention.